live commentary coverage of the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Nashville Super Speedway for this weekend's running of the Sports Illustrated Resorts 250 around this mile and a third concrete oval, Lebanon, Tennessee, roughly 50 minutes outside of downtown Nashville for the site of this year's summer, or I should say spring, Nashville date. We usually see this race take place in the summertime, June, July, but late May for this season, the earliest we have seen a Nashville Super Speedway race in NASCAR. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things are going to go about with cooler track temperatures throughout the course of this weekend's events. Nighttime sky still, as we've seen when it comes to the summer events here at Nashville. We will have night racing across the Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series this weekend. Trucks taking place late yesterday evening after a 3-hour rain delay and a washout of practice and qualifying earlier in the evening. As far as today, we've had rain off and on throughout the afternoon. That actually wiped out both qualifying sessions for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series as well as the NASCAR Cup Series. Minimal practice, though, was had for the O'Reilly Series, and I believe a full practice session was still ongoing for the Cup side. Jesse Love going to be starting on the pole for today's race. RCR with an all front row, as Austin Hill, his teammate, will be starting in second based off that metric system with qualifying getting rained out. In row number 2 is Corey Day, Carson Kvapil, and we will go through the rest of the starting lineup as follows. Row 3, William Sawalich and Kyle Larson trying to go for his third O'Reilly win of the season in his 5th start of the year in this series. Ryan Sieg, Sammy Smith, row 4, and rounding out the top 10 in row 5 is going to be Parker Retzlaff and Garrett Smithley starting up in the top 10. Mason Maggio, Anthony Alfredo in row 6, Dean Thompson, Austin Green, row 7, Leland Honeyman, Patrick Staropoli in row number 8. Row 9 will be Justin Allgaier, the only former winner of the Nashville Super Speedway in the field today, along with LeVar Scott, Jeb Burton, Kyle Sieg in row number 10. Row 11 for Blaine Perkins and David Starr, Brennan Poole, Sheldon Creed deeper in the field in row 12. Raja Kruth in the 32 this weekend, and Ryan Ellis will be in row 13. Row 14 for Taylor Gray and Josh Balicki. Row 15, Brandon Jones, Joey Gase, Jeremy Clements, Logan Beard in row 16, Brent Cruz, the rookie, and Sam Mayer in row 17, Harrison Burton on the inside, Dawson Cram to the outside of row 18, and then Cletus McFarland, Garrett Smithley will round out the field, row number 19. 38 cars on tap for this weekend's race, 188 laps, 250 miles. Green flag is in the air, and we are underway at Nashville. No 3-hour rain delay here this evening. We are getting things started early on. And with the central time zone, this race kind of starting in the dusk hours will finish in full-time darkness, so that track temp is going to continue to drop as we get further into the night. Jesse Love, our pole sitter, gets a great launch on the initial start. He is going to lead the opening lap of the race, while Austin Hill subtly going to hold on to second place with Corey Day to the inside. As they cross the start-finish line, it is going to be Day with the nose out in front of Hill for second place, but still door-to-door into turns 1 and 2 for second. Day again on the bottom, Austin Hill rounding that middle to upper groove of the racetrack. We'll see that line more than likely widen out just a bit throughout the course of the night. Didn't widen out as much in the truck race yesterday as we usually see here at Nashville, so getting further into the weekend as more rubber gets laid down, see how that goes about. Obviously a greener racetrack for the start of this one here today with all the rain that we ended up having going through earlier, but at least the race itself starting on time this evening. Hopefully we get all 250 miles in. All 3 of last week's races at Charlotte were rain shortened or shortened in some capacity between the Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series. We did get the full length into the truck race last night. Just a delayed start was all that was. Austin Hill with the crossover move on Corey Day after Day had gotten around him through turns 1 and 2. Slide job, if you will, with the crossover attempt by Hill in 3 and 4, but he's not able to get clear of Corey Day. Back end of Hill's car was coming out from underneath of him. An ultra-aggressive side draft on the front stretch by Hill to try to hang with that left side driver's side door of Corey Day's race car. And Hill not quite able to make a pass yet. And Corey Day's about clear into turns 3 and 4. He'll slam the door shut, taking Austin Hill's line away on the inside. Hill having to deal with a little bit more dirty air now. And you can just tell automatically that Austin Hill could not get the rotation in his race car, was pushing tight center off. Trying to wrap the yellow line on the bottom of the track, much like Corey Day was doing directly in front of him. 6 laps into this one, caution-free. 45 laps in Stage 1 tonight, just like we had in the truck race yesterday. Stage 2 will be also 45 laps in length, And the final stage is going to be a length of 98 laps, and that will take us to our scheduled distance, again, 188 laps for this evening. One of the shorter O'Reilly races of the season. We usually see a lot of 300-mile races when it comes to the intermediate tracks in this series, but only 250 tonight. Already a 1.3 second lead for Jesse Love over Corey Day at the front of the field. 1.8 seconds to Austin Hill in third. Carson Kvapil hanging on in fourth at 2.3 seconds out of the lead. And William Sawalch, 2.5 seconds back, rounds out the top five.
Up high, now cuts down low on his teammate Sammy Smith.
He's so good here. He is. And he got the best of me last year. And it's just, I love racing the O'Reilly series with him. I'm able to learn so much racing around Justin, and just, it's rare he makes mistakes. That's why he's, always at the front, always, up front in the points. And, it's super helpful for these young kids to be able to learn from him.
As we come back to the start-finish line, we go silent on lap 8, thinking of Kyle Booth. The advantage for Jesse Love out front here in Nashville, 1.3 seconds. We've talked so much about the importance of clean air. Starts on the pole, taking advantage, and a couple of teammates trying to drive through the field here. 54, Taylor Gray. He needs a good run. Came in on the chase bubble, and so does his teammate. Brent Cruz, so talented, missed those 4 races. Rough ride the last couple of weeks, and both able to drive around the 31 of Blaine Perkins.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch Brent this year. I grew up racing around him, and we've been, really close friends since, I was probably 7 or 8 years old. So it's just really fun to watch him get to this level and excel. I knew it was going to happen, but his first win's coming soon, and looks like he's got a fast car tonight. So we'll see where he can get to. He was my pick tonight. I saw that. We had some first-time winner picks down there. So
been amazed by him, man. I know you still highly touted. You talked about how good he is, but he's just taken this so quickly, and it doesn't matter the type of track or if he's never been there, never even got practice. He just has speed, and I think tonight could be a really big night for him.
Yeah, most definitely. He's
10 laps complete. Jesse Love with a 1.7 second lead now over Corey Day. 2.4 seconds to Austin Hill in third, and Carson Kvapil 3 seconds out of the lead in fourth. William Sawalch in 5th place. Kyle Larson still in 6th, right where he started. Ryan Sieg 7th. Justin Allgaier in 8th. Sammy Smith 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Dean Thompson in the 26 Toyota. Biggest movers of the race so far. Sam Mayer up 16 positions already. 17 spots now. From 34th to 17th, Brent Cruz up 18 positions to 15th place after starting 33rd deep in the field with qualifying rained out. Some heavier hitters starting deep in the pack. Cletus McFarland, I know many of you tuning in here today, maybe Cletus McFarland fans, pulling for him in that number 33 Chevrolet. His 2 teammates started on the front row. Cletus with qualifying getting rained out had to start 37 and 38 cars, and he is already up 5 positions from the drop of the green flag. Side-by-side commercial break on the CW, which is where you can watch tonight's race visually. And you can listen live right here on the channel, KRC, for full flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's race, as well as all weekend long. We'll be live for the NASCAR Cup Series race tomorrow from Nashville Superspeedway, which will be under the lights, and we'll begin things off at 6:30 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race show. Cracker Barrel 400. 30 laps remain in Stage 1. Last night, the Craftsman Truck Series race, Stage 1 of 45 laps, actually went caution-free before having 4 cautions in the second stage. Last weekend at Charlotte for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, over 60% of the 91 laps that were completed in the race prior to a rain-shortened event were under yellow. We had a lot of caution laps. between accidents that happen off and on, pretty much on and on, I should say, in stage 2. And then obviously the implement of rain, a couple of short, abbreviated rain delays in that race. Actually, there was a long rain delay that lasted a couple hours, and then we came back for a second stream to finish the race at night for about that last hour, 15 minutes or so, that we had actually gotten to see whether it was green flag or pacing under yellow flag racing. Jesse Love continues to grow his lead out over and over again. My pick was Kyle Larson coming into the night because it's hard not to pick Kyle Larson when he's in an O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. But Jesse Love, pretty good on this style of racetrack. I equate this track probably mostly to Rockingham. Rockingham's been one of Jesse Love's better tracks in the last couple of years since Rockingham came back to the NASCAR schedule, at least for the Truck and O'Reilly series. And the reason why I say it's kind of similar to that, it's because Rockingham is a track that is low grip, but low grip, but there is no tire fall off because of the freshly repaved racetrack that is. This being a concrete oval and similar in length, just a third of a mile, even shorter than that, really, bigger than the length of Rockingham Speedway. Tight, narrow facility. Not a lot of space between the bottom of the racetrack where the apron all the way up to the wall is. And you can get away with trying to run time trial lap after time trial lap because of the lack of tire fall off. These concrete surfaces, like a Nashville, like a Dover, like a Bristol, we haven't seen a lot of tire fall off in those races across all 3 series this season. Probably going to be the same here as well. Very much in track position racetrack last night. I know Lane Riggs was able to capitalize on fresh tires to come back and win that race yesterday. He wasn't gaining a lot of ground on about 11 to 12 lap fresher tires. It took 25 to 30 lap fresher tires to be able to cut his way through the tail end of the lead lap all the way to the front. It took to the very last lap to be able to get the job done and continue on to get the win. Riggs ended up leading 99 of 150 laps in that race, won all 3 stages. Will we see somebody sweep all 3 stages today? Because right now, Jesse Love on a rail and definitely looking like the best race car. Tough to tell with Kyle Larson in traffic right now how good he is. He's been struggling to get by the 18 William Sawalich as of this point in the race. Work is probably going to have to be done on that number 88 Chevrolet to get it to where Larson feels he is going to be able to make the moves necessary to move forward and get up into that top spot. Definitely not dominating like you would have maybe thought he could have done early in this race, and this first stage is flying by as we're almost halfway done with it already. With the opening stage of the truck race going caution-free last night, it was done in about 23 minutes. So probably going to look at about that much time, if not slightly less than that here this evening. There's a little bit more fall off, it seems like, in the tires today than what we had in the truck race yesterday, though the O'Reilly cars have a little bit more horsepower, so that might be really the main difference there. Might have slightly lower downforce to go along with it. Connor Berg, JoJo, Ricky Atkins, thanks for tuning in. You guys are the first in the chat down below. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so on the stream yet. Our goal to get to 50 likes on the live commentary portion of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, and vote for who you think is going to win tonight's race as well in our chat poll. 25 votes have been casted already for who you think is going to win. Justin Allgaier surprisingly leading the poll at 36% of those 25 votes. Kyle Larson at 28% sits in second. The tie for second with other, and then Corey Day only 8% of the votes. He won on the last concrete oval at Dover just 2 weeks ago. They're running second place right now. Larson finally moves into the top 5 to 5th as he got by William Sawalich that last lap. Allgaier is in the 7th place position, also looking to make a pass on the young gun in the 18. And the watch from drivers who started deep in the field. Justin Allgaier up 10 positions to 7th to start this race today. Mentioned already about Brent Cruz. Sam Mayer up a bunch of spots. 19 positions gained each as they said 14th and 15th on the grid. Taylor Gray also up 14 positions. Started 27th. Of course, those are drivers who did not have a good run last week at Charlotte for one reason or another, whether it was a DNF, getting caught up in any kind of an incident. Didn't get a good finish because of the metric. Taking 60% of, or I believe 70% of the metric is last week's finish, 30% owner standings, setting up the starting grid for whenever qualifying is rained out. And that is why across all 3 of the top 3 series for the second consecutive week, I might add, getting rained out, that is where qualifying for, I guess, the starting order would come from, since there is no qualifying. Connor Zilch is the guest speaker in the booth, by the way, for tonight's O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. They got a rotating group of guest commentators. Denny Hamlin last week was on call for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, but this week again, young gun NASCAR Cup Series phenom Connor Zilch. Zilch was actually spotting for Stephen Parsons in the truck race last night, so triple duty of his own right this weekend for Connor Zilch. Racing on Sunday, commentating Saturday, spotting on Friday. Zilch's car is struggling in traffic right now. Looks like he's got a donut on the left side door of his race car. Might have had contact on the initial start. Looked like it was a donut scuff right around the number 18 on the driver's side door. Justin Allgaier made the pass on him about a lap and a half ago for 6th, and it looks like Allgaier is actually outpacing Kyle Larson right now. He is all over the back of the 88, though Larson has been stuck behind Carson Kvapil in the 4th place position, so that could be part of it as well. Larson searching up the racetrack already. Did not take long. Middle going of this opening stage, and he's already up about as wide as the black marks on the racetrack will let him go without getting up and out of the groove. And if we see it go all the way up to the wall today, I'm sure Larson's going to be of those drivers testing the limits. Corey Day was right up against the wall in the concrete oval at Dover on the last long green flag run at the end of that race and was able to capitalize better than anybody else in doing so and went on to win, stealing it from Justin Allgaier in the closing laps. Thomas Robinson and Robert Goodrich, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. Thomas taking Justin Allgaier for the win. Yeah, it's crazy that Kyle Larson's in this race and he just doesn't have as many votes. He's up there in the voting poll, but usually he's like unanimously the favorite. Larson making a pass on Kvapil with a slide job into turns 3 and 4. Kvapil going to try a crossover to get right back underneath them as they come to the front stretch. But Larson's where he wants to be on the outside of another race car. He had to go to the bottom quickly to do so. Justin Allgaier going to try to beat Kvapil, his teammate, to the outside. He's right in line behind Larson. Now actually goes to the middle groove. He was looking for a pathway to try to get in between the 1 and the 88, but there just wasn't enough room to actually make that maneuver work. Getting as much clean air on the nose as possible as well with doing so. And he's all over that left rear corner panel of Larson's race car. Things are so tight off turn 4. It almost looked like Allgaier is just going to push Larson forward on the front stretch, tag team the 1. The 88's clear for 4th. But I definitely think that 7 car is turning much better than Larson's right now. Larson seems like he's too tight. He's off throttle way more in the center of the corner. Allgaier is able to win the race back to the gas as he's just got better rear security, it seems. I should say rear security, but front turn. Allgaier quickly with a slide job on his own on Kyle Larson. Larson cuts down the track looking for a crossover. Almost gets into the left rear corner panel of the 7 of Allgaier, and Justin Allgaier will hold in front of him. Allgaier back to the bottom of the track into turns 3 and 4. Larson into that wider groove. Opens up the bottom again for the 1 of Kvapil to sneak underneath, but Kvapil cannot stay with Larson off the exit of turn 2. So Justin Allgaier looking pretty strong up in the top 5. He's within a second of the 3rd place car, Austin Hill. Jesse Love's lead is 4.7 seconds over Corey Day, 6.1 seconds over Austin Hill in 3rd, and 6.8 seconds to the 4th place car, Justin Allgaier. Kyle Larson in 5th, 7.2 seconds back, 7.5 back for Carson Kvapil in 6th place. 7th is William Sawalich at 7.7 seconds out of the lead, 8.7 back for Ryan Segan 8th, Sammy Smith in 9th, 10.7 seconds back, and Dean Thompson still in 10th, 12.4 seconds behind our race leader, Jesse Love. A little less than 15 laps to go in Stage 1. We'll take our first break. You're listening live on KRC to full flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's Sports Illustrated Resorts 250. AJF, welcome into the stream. Tracy Lewis, welcome in as well. Carson in the number 1, looking like the best scheme. Unique paint scheme on that number 1. I'm used to seeing the Bass Pro Shop colors whenever Kvapil's in the 1 car. Not the case this weekend. Point standings coming into this weekend's race as Justin Allgaier ahead by 145 points. That has dwindled a bit because it was up over 170. A couple of decent runs, but not great for Allgaier by the way his season has gone so far, but he still leads the series in wins with 3 as of right now. Corey Day getting a couple wins in the last month is up to 3rd in points, and he's only one win, obviously, outside of Allgaier for tying for the most in the season this year. Jesse Love, winless still this season. Fast race car to start things off tonight. Maybe a win could go a long way into him cutting into that deficit on the 7 for the race for the regular season championship, despite being about 2 races out of first as of right now. Almost 2 full races. 75 points is the most points he could score if you win. Actually, 76 is the most he could score if you end up having the fastest lap of the race, and then he win all 3 stages. Race win alone, 55 points for the win. That's not even counting stage 1, stage 2, or the possible fastest lap bonus point. Corey Day is 3rd in points, as I mentioned already, behind the top 3. Sheldon Creed with a win at Atlanta early in the year is in 4th, and Brandon Jones, still winless this season, rounds out the top 5. Austin Hill had a win in the season opener at Daytona. He's fallen to 6th in points. He's actually up a spot from where he was a week ago. Sammy Smith lost a spot, fell from 6th to 7th in the standings after Charlotte. Carson Kvapil, who's been part-time with JRM and part-time in the 91 this year, sits 8th in points. Parker Retzlaff in 9th. He'll be doing double duty this weekend. He ran the truck race last night for the 62 team, Friesen Hallmar Racing. William Sawalch rounds out the top 10 in points. He had the win at Rockingham, the closest track probably to that of Nashville on the schedule. Not looking quite as good early in this race. Started up in the top 5 and already Sawalch back to 7th. But 10th in points coming into the race. Sam Mayer 11th in points after DNF again a week ago. And Taylor Gray, who also DNF'd, rounds out the top 12. And those 12 drivers will be in the chase spots if the regular season ended after Charlotte last week. After tonight's race, only 10 races to go in the regular season for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Things are dwindling quickly. I believe they do have an off week at Michigan next week, though. And I believe that is actually the first off week of the season for this series. They've been on it since Daytona. Even the Cup Series had that off week with Easter and obviously a non-points paying event at Dover with the All-Star race a couple weeks ago. So this series is kind of pulled away. They've had 2 more points races than what the Cup side has had so far this season. Raja Caruth is going to be 13th in points. He's the first driver out of the standings. He's in the 32 car tonight. He's been part-time between the 32 at Jordan Anderson Racing and the 88 with Junior Motorsports. Obviously Larson in the 88 for now. Caruth's only 2 points behind Taylor Gray for that last chase spot. Ryan Sieg is 15 points back, 14th in the standings. Brett Cruz lost 2 spots in points, and he was actually inside the top 12 2 races ago, but now he's back to 15th after a couple of rough runs in a row. But he is sitting with 4 top 5s on the year, and he did miss 4 races this year because he was not of the age of 18 to run every track at the beginning of the season. Brendan Poole is 16th in points. He is quite a bit further behind than that of the top 15. There's quite a points gap between 15th and 16th. But Poole trying to hang in there. Maybe he gets an upset win at Atlanta or a Daytona in the regular season, and he can be right back in the thick of things to maybe be one of those outliers to make the chase. Sarah Gutierrez, thanks for tuning in. Tyler Burbeck, thanks for tuning in as well. And many others that are watching that have not joined in the chat yet. Greatly appreciate you watching. Dean Tate, welcome back as well. I missed you earlier. Our first live commentary stream of the day with qualifying getting rained out earlier for the NASCAR Cup Series. They were able to get some practice in, but no qualifying, so we did not stream earlier today. We'll be live for the Cup race tomorrow, the Cracker Barrel 400. Also from Nashville Super Speedway. Justin Allgaier to 3rd place, got by Austin Hill for 4th moments ago after we were going through the point standings. The Cletus McFarland watch as he started deep in the field. He is up quite a few spots to 29th. After starting in 37th in that last row, he's up 9 positions already. While his teammate Jesse Love has led every lap from the pole so far. 2 laps to go this time by for Jesse Love in this stage. McFarland trying to stand the lead lap as he's right in front of the leader, Jesse Love. And we'll see if Jesse's going to cut him some slack. Cletus a little bit of a bump draft down the back straightaway, maybe trying to help him out. I don't think Jesse Love is going to try to pass him here. It seems to me Jesse Love's going to cut Cletus McFarland a break. Cletus looking to make a pass right now at the tail end of the lead lap. Not sure if that was a lap car he had just passed or not. Looked like it was a lapper. Jesse Love actually is going to be able to get by both of them through turns 1 and 2. I thought Love was going to let him go. But he goes a lap down instead. And coming to the final lap of the stage. So now Cletus McFarland having to battle for the free pass position with Logan Bearden in the 42 cars. They head through turns 1 and 2. We'll have to see if it's going to work out for him. Guess it was too slow of a pace that maybe... Oh, and Cletus is spinning! He was going for it to try to get into the free pass position, and he pushed a little too hard. McFarland spins, and he's down in the grass through turns 3 and 4. Stage will not end under yellow. Jesse Love does get to the start-finish line to win stage 1. That will be the caution still. McFarland back on the course, obviously not going to get the free pass position. He'll remain 1 lap down at the end of stage 1. He was digging. Car looks like it's clean. Risky ride going through the grass down there with all the rain we've had already this weekend, but luckily did not tear apart the splitter. Farland had a couple of slides and a spin back at Rockingham in his O'Reilly debut on Easter weekend. It's just his second career start in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Washed up the racetrack, slight contact with Bearden, and around goes McFarland. Kept it off the inside wall, and again, very fortunate not to tear the splitter up on that race car. All 4 tires looked to be up as well. He didn't pop one amidst the slide and locking up the brakes. So caution out for the first time today. Stage 1 will come to an end, bringing out the caution. Cletus McFarland spins coincidentally as he was trying desperately to get back on the lead lap with the free pass spot, but he will not win that battle with Logan Bearden. And I don't think Jesse Love lapped any more cars, so it looks like Bearden in 29th will get the free pass. Farland knew how much of a battle that was going to have to be for that spot, and he just overstepped it. So Jesse Love wins stage 1, Corey Day 2nd, Justin Allgaier 3rd. Austin Hill 4th, and Kyle Larson rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Carson Quapple 6th in stage number 1, William Sawalage 7th, Ryan Sieg 8th, Sammy Smith 9th, and Brent Cruz rounds out the top 10. So all those drivers receiving stage points, 1 point per position inside the top 10. And now we're about to find out who's got the fastest pit crew as we'll see our first pit stops of the race. I think the reason why Jesse Love ended up making some passes on cars at the tail end of the lead lap like he was trying to do there a little while ago, simply for the fact that I believe he was trying to get as many cars between himself and second place as possible so it'd be a better advantage for when he comes to pit road, that he would win the race out of the pits because of the difference in space coming to that commitment line. Get all those lap cars between the lead lap cars, and it's going to be a hard time for Corey Day trying to close that gap because Love had about a 6-second lead on him at the end of the stage. Fortunately for McFarland, he ended up going a lap down because of it. come back from commercial, let you listen in. And we will be seeing not only the first pit stops of the race today, but curious to know what's going to happen. RCR's had of the best pit crews in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, not just this season, but last season as well. So the fact that Jesse Love leads right now and has that big advantage, it's going to be tough for him not to win this race off pit road.
Lights are on. The same wheel and emergency lights and sirens you see on the safety vehicles here at the track are protecting first responders and communities all across America. Stage 1 complete. Progressive pit road is open. Here's Kim.
And Adam, you see that 17 of Corday pulling off, about to make his stop. Top of your screen, too tight second half of the run. Also tight to start. If he was freer, he felt like he could make last time. You see the chassis adjustment, too tight on the top lane. Also thought he might have a flat right rear. We'll check that when it comes off, Dylan.
Jesse Love didn't want to be looser on entry because that hurts his arc with center exit. He didn't want to be a little freer to make a track bar and air pressure change. Austin Hill said he was lacking right rear drift on entry, and Justin Allgaier said, don't change anything, but I need help on the short run, and I'm 2-3 on the long run, so I guess good luck if you're Andrew Overstreet on fixing that.
Hey, two teams been solid on pit road all year. Allgaier's got the #1 pit stall, so he goes +1. Quapple +3. Status quo for Hill, and the 17 going in the wrong direction. -3 for him in this first pit exchange of the afternoon. That's the progressive race on pit road. A slide to end stage 1 for Cletus McFarland. Stage 2 coming up next on CW. When choosing
Under caution for the first time today with the end of stage number 1 of 45 laps, caution free there, and we will see how stage 2 will go, also 45 laps in length. At the end of lap number 90, when we get to the stage end, we'll close out the chat poll for who you think is going to win tonight's race. So be sure to vote. RCR and HMS cars, I got confused. If you're asking me to list them all, the 2, 21, and 33 are the RCR cars this evening, and then JRM is the 7, 1, 88, 8, and missing one. 7, 1, 88, 8. I believe that's it tonight. Because the 17 is not Junior Motorsports, that's Hendrick. Corey Day is technically in the Hendrick Chevy. He's the only Hendrick Chevy in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series full-time. Take another break with the stage 1 end. And we'll get back to racing again here shortly after stage 1 goes caution-free. Second night in a row, 45 laps in the opening stage where we don't get a yellow. RCR and HMS. Yeah, the only HMS car is the 17. The other junior motorsports car that I would be missing is the number 9. That car is not being raced tonight, though. KRM only has 4 cars on the track this weekend. Most weeks, you would usually see 5 junior motorsports Chevys. They don't have the 4-car rule like the NASCAR Cup Series does. See a few truck teams as well running 5+ trucks every weekend, like Thor Sport Tricon Garage.
The Credit One Bank. An express car. O'Reilly Auto Parts, your professional parts dealer. Back in Nashville, getting ready for stage 2. Our stage break coverage brought to you by Arby's. Second pit stop for Taylor Gray. What's going on there, Kim?
Yeah, during that stop, a lug nut got in between the rotor and the wheel and actually hit the inner valve stem on the left side. So it does sound like they are going to give him an additional left front tire to make him so he has an equal set. Trying to confirm that with NASCAR, but that was the issue that caused the flat after the first stop.
But I think about this guy that came in on the chase cut line and doesn't get any stage points, and now you lose all that track position. Raja Karuth also had a problem on pit road, so he's going to be coming from deep in the field. Another guy that was right around the cut. Ryan Seek got some stage points. He's in the top 10, and as of now would have a chase position. We'll follow that story all night long.
All right, 8 laps under caution for the Stage 1 break. Lap number 9 will be the first green flag lap of Stage 2. Green flag is in the air, and Jesse Love still the leader. Lane Riggs led every lap of Stage 1 and Stage 2 yesterday at the truck race. Went on to eventually win the race. Didn't lead all 150 laps. He actually didn't lead again until the final lap of the race after falling behind on pit strategy in Stage number 3 with those stops at the end of Stage 2 and drivers flipping the stage. Not going to happen, at least so far tonight, and Jesse Love gets a good restart to get out in front of Justin Allgaier, who's now in a race-high second-place position. But Allgaier had a great race car to drive up to 3rd by the end of Stage 1 after starting outside the top 10, so we'll see if he can continue his hot pursuit of the leader. Door-to-door battle for 3rd right now between Carson Kvapil and Austin Hill. Hill slides just a bit through turns 1 and 2, now on the outside of 3 wide in a battle for 4th with the 2 HendrickCar.com Chevrolets underneath them of Corey Day and Kyle Larson. Corey Day on the bottom, Larson in the middle. Larson slides up the racetrack, almost making contact with Hill. Sawalch gets by in the bottom. Larson still slides, and he makes a great save off the exit of turn 4, but he still continues to get split around by other cars. Austin Hill in the 21 not going anywhere as Larson just sandwiched between the 8 and the 21. As of this moment, Austin Hill knocks Larson up the racetrack into turn 1. Maybe not appreciating how hard he's being raced. And these two are both going backwards with the way they're racing each other all of a sudden. Hill was just in a side-by-side battle for 3rd on the restart, and now he has fallen well out of the top 10. Larson slipping and sliding on his own continues to deal with some problems. He is in 11th. Hill fell all the way to 15th. And more on that battle as things progress forward, I'm sure. Larson just doesn't seem like he's had a good race car tonight to try to get out of this deep traffic that he's in. And Austin Hill, who was going backwards towards the end of Stage 1, picked up some spots on pit road, and he lost a bunch more on the restart. He's going to have his work cut out for himself as well. More 3-wide battling going on around Kyle Larson on the outside of 3 wide. Brandon Jones in the middle. Another car sucked in down to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get by both of them. I believe that is Retzlaff in the 99. Shoot all the way to the bottom of the track is Sheldon Creed in the 00. A 3-wide move of his own to slide in front of the 99. And actually, no, that's the 96 of Anthony Alfredo. That's a teammate of Retzlaff. And he almost gets into the left rear corner panel of Brandon Jones and a big block to the outside. Man, Alfredo is racing ultra aggressively just outside of the top 10. Really, all 3 or 4 of these cars in this battle are, but he has probably been the most aggressive. Trying to make up some track position after he too started deep in the field. Only 6 green flag laps into stage number 2, but it has been action-packed thus far. Off the battle for the initial lead when Jesse Love was out in front the first couple green flag laps, Justin Allgaier, while Kyle Larson and Austin Hill were falling back, had taken the race lead from Jesse Love, the stage 1 winner. Justin Allgaier now leads by a half a second over Love, with Carson Kvapil 1.1 seconds back in third, and then 2.3 seconds back is Corey Day in fourth. Coming up on lap 16 in the stage this time by.
To the camera.
It's exciting, though, yeah?
Not to me when I'm on a pit box, too. It's a high mom moment for sure.
Yeah.
Corey Day, fourth. What's going on there, Kim?
Yeah, maybe a little issue. Take a listen to the Starkey in-car communication from the 17. And they're going to keep an eye on it, but we're reporting that smoke in the cockpit.
Right, and what can that be? You know, especially a restart, a little lower air pressure, could be a little bit of rub on the fender. You know, if it doesn't get worse or even gets better, that can tell you it could be just a slight tire rub. But if it does start to get worse, maybe it's more internally in the engine compartment, which is obviously really gross.
William Sawalich right there trying to get in the fourth position. Justin Allgaier leading at Nashville.
Side-by-side commercial break on the CW. We'll go through the full field running order now. Just over half a second lead still for Justin Allgaier in stage 2. Jesse Love sits in second. Carson Kvapil third. Corey Day in fourth. And rounding out the top 5, William Sawalich. Brent Cruz up to 6th place after starting in 33rd today. Sammy Smith 7th. Parker Retzlaff 8th. Sam Mayer 9th. And Kyle Larson back to 10th. Ryan Segan 11th. 12th for Brandon Jones. Anthony Alfredo in 13th. 14th Dean Thompson. Sheldon Creed 15th. Austin Hill now back into 16th, losing 12 positions on the restart. Kyle Sieg 17th. Jeff Burton 18th. Taylor Gray 19th. And Jeremy Clements 20th. Blaine Perkins in 21st. Harrison Burke 22nd. Raja Crew 23rd. Brennan Poole 24th. And Patrick Starpoli 25th. Leland Honeyman in 26th, Austin Green 27th, Logie Beard in 28th is the last car in the lead lap after getting a free pass at the end of stage 1. Mesa Maggio 29th and Ryan Ellis 30th. Garrett Smithley 31st, Josh Balicki 32nd, David Stark 33rd, LeVar Scott 34th, Dawson Cram 35th. Cletus McFarland 36th, Joey Gase 37th, and J.J. Yaley rounds out our 38-car field. So that is the full field running order. Early in stage 2, really about halfway through stage 2 already. Only caution the stage break at lap 45. Tonight's race is flying by thus far. 3 lead changes. Justin Allgaier leading the last lap. Last handful of laps since he has taken the lead, has led for 11 laps today. 53 laps led for our stage 1 winner, Jesse Love. And the only other lead change might have been on pit road because Justin Allgaier actually had the number 1 box despite the fact that Love was the pole sitter for today's race. We'll take another break. You're listening live. KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's Nashville O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race is ongoing. Federico Sanchez, thanks for tuning in. Good battles all over the racetrack right now. Come back for commercial. Let you listen into the CW broadcast booth a little bit more. On the call, Adam Alexander, Connor Zilich. And Parker Kligerman in the booth. Zilich, the guest commentator that the CW is having for a 5-race stretch in the late spring, early summer of their TV broadcast this season. Denny Hamlin was on the call last week. And we'll see a few more guests in the next 3 races to come as well. Tight battle between Sam Mayer and Sammy Smith. Former teammates door to door in a battle for position. I believe that is just inside the top 10. Yeah, that is a battle for about 7th. And Smith is going backwards after he got a little bit up and out of the groove.
Bobby Auto Parts Racing, the Sports Illustrated Resorts 250, Nashville Super Speedway. Glad you're with us. CW Racing has been outstanding in the broadcast booth with Parker Klugerman, our guest Connor Zillich. I'm Adam Alexander. So much to watch. And we remind you of this closed captioning for tonight's race, brought to you by Tableau TV. Pay once, watch forever. All Allgaier out front. Another story we've got to mention is Love hangs right there with him in the second spot. Taylor Gray had the tire issue. We did get confirmation NASCAR gave them a new left front tire, so he's all level on tires. And despite the fact that they had the compromised track position, he's driven back up to 17th. So doing some positive things on track as well.
And this is something NASCAR will do in the event that you have an issue like that immediately after you have a pit stop. It happened for SVG at Watkins Glen when you guys had a little contact on pit road, cut a tire down. NASCAR gave you that when you have limited sets like you have here in the O'Reilly Series. It puts you at such a massive deficit for something that maybe their position was really out of control, and therefore NASCAR doesn't want you to be at such a deficit. It gives you that tire.
What about the 19 Kim Cruz is 6 right now?
Yeah, Cruz is cruising. Running through the field, though, in stage 1, obviously started 29th, made it all the way into the top 10 to earn stage points, and he called his shot. When I talked to him earlier today about how far deep back he was going to have to start, he was not at all worried. He said, look, we made hay at Charlotte. We can do it again this weekend. And he said the directive for the night was we're going to put the fries in the bag. I'm a little bit older than Rick, I'll say, and so he had to explain what that meant to me, and he said, look, it just means let's go, let's do what's expected of us, don't overcomplicate things, and he has absolutely gone to work and is now taken over the 5th position.
Yeah, you're speaking Connor's language up here.
Right here. So please explain to us.
We got a ton of unks up here. It's, just the guys in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like Brent is.
Well, I'll tell you what,
in the back.
we're going to be using that a lot the rest of the year now.
Ingrained in the brain at this point.
We're going after the future demo.
Speaking of the younger demo, the only 2 teams in the field, Brent and Sawalich, are running inside the top 5.
Yeah, they look great. William,
Making me and the rest of the teenagers proud.
yeah, William looking for a 3rd consecutive top 5. It's time to go full throttle with Sound Gear wherever sound is a problem. Sound Gear has the solution. Scan the QR code to learn more at soundgear.com. Turn it up.
A bit of a crank it up CW style.
Really like what I see from Jesse Love. Allgaier got by, but make a mental note of this for the final stage. Being good on the back end of a run. Love is there and looking inside for the race lead as we hit 15 laps to go stage 2.
I mean, you get one lap car to get you slowed down, bogged up, and Jesse's there ready to pounce. That's what it takes at this track. It's very tough to pass when the leader doesn't have dirty air, traffic, whatever it may be, and Jesse Love gets the lead there.
And he absolutely sent it there into turn 1. He was running that high lane way up top. He told me before the race he was going to be one of the first to get there. We didn't see that, but he didn't need it in the first stage. He vaulted away from the field, but there he used it to get the momentum, looked really good, and then got to the inside and absolutely sent it down to 1 to clear Justin Allgaier.
Yeah, it looks like these 2 cars are class of the field today, but there's guys coming from the back. Taylor Gray has been really fast on this last run, but man, these 2 are going to be racing hard for this lead. They know that track position and getting down pit road first at the end of the stage is going to be crucial.
And Larson appears human right now, settled in 9th position as we hit the latter stages of this second stint of the race.
Yeah, that's good.
Gray is now, what's that?
Appears human.
That's right. Yeah.
The last time he did that, I will remind you all that he won.
Yeah, I know.
He said he was a mid-pack driver most races. Very nice.
Lane's moving up.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Justin, he's just peaking a little bit lower, getting a little bit of air to that left front headlight. Although running that higher lane, he's had to gravitate up there. This is unusual for me to see from Justin Allgaier because it just feels like he is a bottom feeder at this place as he gets A lane lower there to get maybe a little bit. He's on the rear bumper. Jesse Love.
Well, the track is racy tonight. 12 to go, stage 2. We'll go side by side here with the battle for the lead on. Love in front of Allgaier. Waffle, Sawallich, Cruz, the top 5.
11 laps to go in stage number 2. Jesse Love and Justin Allgaier in a tight battle for the lead. Several laps ago, Jesse Love was able to slingshot his way by Allgaier in lap traffic, but that 7 isn't going anywhere, and he's keeping a very close contest for the stage 2 win. Amidst the battle, they are still slightly pulling away from Quapple, who is now 2.7 seconds out of the lead, only a tenth of a second back that last time at the line for Allgaier in P2, and William Sawallich up to 4th place, 3.3 seconds out of the lead. Again, he won at Rockingham. He's somebody to kind of look out for on a track like this. No coincidence, I think, that Sawallich is the top-running Toyota and is up in the top 5 again. Our only caution was the stage 1 end at lap 45. 9 laps to go this time by in stage 2 this go-around. We'll take another break amidst the commercial break on the CW's part. And again, we will be back shortly. The 2 drivers who have led the most laps this season of the full-time regulars and happen to also be top 2 in points are Justin Allgaier and Jesse Love. Allgaier's led 372 laps this year, 287 for Love. So far tonight, though, Jesse Love has led the most laps with him sweeping stage 1 from the pole. He has ongoing led 60 laps today, 21 for the current second-place car, Allgaier. They're the only 2 drivers to lead in this race entirely, as we are going to complete 83 laps out of 188 this time by. Jesse Love made the pass for the lead look very easy on Allgaier not that long ago. Still daylight hours at Nashville Super Speedway, roughly 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Fast race pace going on right now. We're probably not going to have a lot of racing in the dark, especially with it being a shorter race length as well. It's quite a bit of lap traffic ahead of Love. He's going to have to alter his line to make these passes while still trying to hold Allgaier behind him for the stage win. And despite the bigger points deficit for Love, a win could go a long way into cutting into that. Allgaier maybe gets a bad finish at some point in time, gets in an incident early in a race. Jesse Love capitalizes, gets another solid run. Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3 in a race, and he's right there in contention. There's still enough races left in the regular season. It's never over till it's over, and winning the regular season championship obviously going to put yourself in the best position possible to win the overall championship once the chase begins. And Love trying to go for back-to-back titles. And actually, Justin Allgaier the year before that, in 2024, was able to win the championship. So you got the last 2 champions running 1-2 at the front of the point standings in the front of this race so far here tonight as well. 5 laps to go in the stage this time by. Allgaier slings his car to the inside of the racetrack through turns 3 and 4. Gets alongside Jesse Love. He'll side draft him going through the tri-ovals. He hangs on the left rear corner panel, and he's got a good drive off into turn number 1. Nose out in front for the 7. He is clear if he moves up. He will move up. And Jesse Love trying to get a run off the top to maybe mount some kind of a crossover on the other end of the track into 3 and 4. Love will do just that. He gets underneath the 7. Side drafts it back just as Allgaier did on the front stretch. Jesse Love is now going to be clear with a slide job in the middle of the corner. He goes way up the racetrack. Allgaier backs it up again. Crosses back to the inside a second time. Back and forth, the 2 and the 7 go at the front of the pack, and they are door-to-door for the lead again into turn 1. Allgaier will be clear in the center of turns 1 and 2 for the second consecutive lap. Jesse Love going to try to get another run off the top. He's a little bit further behind this time, but it looked like Allgaier had to lift off turn 2. He lost the nose, and Love gets back to the inside again. Almost did. Big block by Allgaier. Almost turned himself across the front bumper of the 2. Lap car, Garrett Smithley in the way on both drivers headed into turn 3. Enough so that Allgaier actually was able to gap Jesse Love just a bit, but the battle is not done yet. 3 laps to go in stage number 2, and these guys are battling like it's a 2 to 3 lap dash left in the entire race, with the moves being put on one another. A lot of fun to watch, and the fun isn't done yet. Love made the pass in lap traffic for the lead, and then after about a dozen laps, Allgaier ran him down, passed him back, quick crossover by the 2, a double crossover by the 7, a big block on the front stretch to hold off a second crossover on Love's part as well, and they sit nose to tail again with just a lap and a half to go now in stage number 2. Kyle Larson making a pass for 9th on Ryan Sieg in traffic, as that 88 car has not looked great so far this evening. Has yet to lead a lap, started in row 3 in the 6th place position. He has only been as high as 4th in the running order. And they're going to have a lot more work to that 88 car if they're going to want to get him in contention. Oh boy, another near close call for the 2 and the 7. Lap car got in the way of Justin Allgaier through turns 3 and 4, opened the door up on the bottom for Jesse Love, and he was almost clear. Now chases his car up the track in turns 1 and 2 again, and Justin Allgaier is going to hold on. And that's going to be all she wrote for stage number 2. I think Love's going to be too far back into 3 and 4 to mount one last charge. Slipped the rear tires on the bottom of the track, trying to get back to the inside of the 7 for the upteenth time, it seems, in the stage. And Justin Allgaier wins a thrilling stage 2 here at Nashville. Jesse Love in 2nd, Carson Kvapil 3rd, William Sawalich 4th, and Brent Cruz rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Corey Day in 6th, Sam Mayer 7th, Parker Retzlaff 8th, Kyle Larson 9th, and Ryan Sieg rounds out the top 10. What a show Justin Allgaier and Jesse Love put on in the last 15 to 20 laps of stage 2. That was a lot of fun to watch. Tell you what, if you don't like the battle those two put on, you don't like NASCAR. That was a lot of fun. Another stage still to go here tonight at Nashville Super Speedway. Stage 1 and 2 going caution-free, but the battles up at the front of the field have continued all night. More so in Stage 2 than Stage 1, as Jesse Love had a pretty good handle of the field in that opening stage, but Allgaier, because of the metric, had to start outside the top 10, got up to 3rd by the end of Stage 1. He was right up there with Love at the beginning of the stage, and those two cars I don't think were ever further than a half a second apart from one another. No matter who was in the lead, whether it was the 2 or the 7, that entire 45-lap stage 2. It was a great battle between those guys, and having to navigate their way through slower lap traffic while racing each other as well, and it was a clean, intense battle at that. Second set of pit stops will be coming up on the other side of the commercial break on the CW. We'll take another break of our own. You're listening live KRC to full flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's race. Listen into the pit stop reports when they do come back from commercial. Final stage tonight, 98 laps to take us to the end. We'll be just past halfway in the race entirely when we do get back racing again in stage 3. Field will not be able to make it on fuel by pitting now during the second stage, like in the truck race last night, which had a shorter race length of 50 miles, less than what today's race has. Have a long commercial break. Pit road should be open this time by. I have to turn this lamp on here pretty soon. It's slowly getting dark. You guys can still see me in the camera. We got a little bit of natural light still coming in here. The sun is going down. Got a lot of trees around where I live, so it's blocking out a bit of that sunlight. And I think it sets on the complete other side of the apartment too, so probably a little darker on this end.
As we head into the next stage, it's big time to slow things down with Arby's new slow smoke barbecue. While it's all about speed on the track, Arby's is doing barbecue the opposite way. Smoke low, slow, and worth the wait. The Arby's barbecue sandwich comes loaded with pulled pork or chopped brisket paired with your choice of sweet or spicy barbecue sauce. Scan the QR code to order now in the Arby's app.
Pit stop time. We'll see if that 2 crew, they've been good all year, man. Have been fast.
7, number 1 pit stall, and both executed quite well at the end of stage 1.
And also, that one team.
Yeah, I was going to say
on that last time. We got 3 of those guys. Good pit crews here.
Progressive pit road is open. Allgaier, Love, and Quapple coming down first, Kim.
Yeah, and for Carson Quapple, looking for a little more on the race car. He said, I like what I got. Just took the rear out of the track instead of making the front turn. So asked for more security in the rear and a little bit more turn in the front. Dylan.
William Sawalich had been quietly in the top 5 all day. Said he was free on exit, but I like this race car. Jesse Love said that he was loose and shattering the right rear. Their plan is to undo both the changes from stage 1. That's an air pressure and track bar adjustment. And for Justin Allgaier, he said, I need help with the front turn and I lost rear grip, but I'm still pretty happy. 4 tires and fuel for the 7.
Race off, pit road. 7 going in the wrong direction. Great opportunity to get out front for Jesse Love to control this race. +1 for Quapple, +1 for Sawalich. Cruz goes +1. It's -4 for Allgaier. Let's see what went wrong there. Looks like maybe an issue on the right front. Bumbling a tire. And Allgaier are going to have to come from behind again. Restart, final stage coming up from Nashville Superspeedway.
We'll have to wait and get a word from NASCAR there. It was tough to tell if there was an uncontrolled tire penalty. I don't know for sure if he was actually handed one. It was close. It was borderline as to whether or not that tire was uncontrolled. Definitely a slower pit stop for the 7. He had that number 1 pit box. We'll see how this works out. They run laps under the stage 2 caution. Looking at a raw feed, Justin Allgaier with a slower stop. Lost 4 positions. He's going to be in 5th. And that is going to be interesting if he gets a penalty. The tire itself was still in the box, and it didn't impede with another person's pit stop because he was at the front of pit road with him having the number 1 stall. So despite that it was out of the tire carrier's hands, somewhat out of his control, at least kind of stayed in the vicinity. And again, it didn't impede with anybody else in a dangerous situation. It was also while Allgaier was still in his box stall because they had to finish up service on the left side of the car anyway. So I think he lucked out. It was a slow stop, but I don't think he's going to end up with a penalty. And it doesn't appear so on our screen as he still scored in 5th. So on the next restart, your top dozen, Jesse Love in the lead, Carson Quapple 2nd, William Sawalich 3rd, Brent Cruz 4th, and Justin Allgaier will be 5th place. 6th is Corey Day with Braden Jones 7th, Kyle Larson 8th, Sam Mayer 9th, and Sammy Smith in 10th. 11th is Taylor Gray, Sheldon Creed in 12th. That is the top 12 in the running order. Tim Brown, Sarah Gutierrez, JoJo, welcome to the stream. Yep, Blaney did win here last season. Maybe we'll have more of the same this year. Carson Hocevar finished 2nd in that race last year. I'm curious to see how he runs this weekend. Fresh off the win for Spire Motorsports in the Coke 600 with Daniel Suarez last weekend as well, so momentum definitely riding high. Hocevar had his first career win at Talladega just a few weeks prior, and they got a good track coming up for him tomorrow. I'm curious to see how Spire Motorsports is going to perform at Nashville again this season. Since we got to the end of stage 2, we're going to close out our chat poll for who you think is going to win tonight's race. And our official results there, 33% of you guys out of 57 votes taking somebody other than Larson Allgaier or Corey Day for the win. So rarity that Kyle Larson does not win the chat poll in the O'Reilly Series race that he is running in. He only has 30% of the votes tonight, tied for second with Justin Allgaier, who was the stage number 2 winner. Corey Day, 7% of the votes, last of which was running between second and third throughout the evening. He was actually fourth at the end of the last stage. I think Sawalich was third at the end of stage 2. Corey Day in 6th, dropping a couple spots on pit road for the second consecutive stop. Allgaier falls to 5th, and Jesse Love back in the lead after he started on pole and won stage 1, wire to wire. Wade, welcome back.
And then humongous oversized yacht. I'm thinking like it just went in the account. You know how you're walking through like a mall and there's a car just sitting there? It's silly, but I think that'd be a lot of fun. I want that fun. I unfortunately owe my daughter a water park. I wanted her to like be in racing, and I didn't know how else to do it. I'm like, hey, what do you want? I want a water park. I'm like, all right, well, if Daddy wins to my water park. Avoided it so far, but I'd happily figure it out. I'm not going to tell you that I want a Powerball, but besides.
By local lottery retailer to get in the game today.
Ryan Ellis with the classic overpromise, underdeliver, unless you hit the Powerball, dream big, and head to your local lottery retailer to get in the game for tonight's estimated Powerball jackpot of $172 million. I think 172 would get you the water park.
I think you can get there.
You could have
See the jet and the ginormous yacht probably works.
Yeah, he'd be out of money though.
Yeah, pretty
Let's
quick.
pay taxes.
Like just Allgaier's, the idea that there wouldn't be signs. His sign would be that we wouldn't see them.
Yeah, that's sad. Does that been the ones that like this?
I don't know. It should like it's a really good connection. For Hearing Month, Starkey can help you hear your best. Scan the QR code to take a short free online hearing test at Starkey.com. Now let's listen in to Starkey Radio Communications.
I'm trying to tell his spotter that the communication he needs to hear to be able to defend the guy behind him, and that's really important when you've got racing like we saw at the end of stage 2 when it's almost more important to know what's behind you than what's in front of you.
Look at the points earned today. A couple of guys that want to point out on the bottom. Sieg and Retzlaff both lost ground on the pit exchange. They restart outside the top 10. Good night for Love and Allgaier already at the top. Sawalich doing a nice job. And 7 for Brent Cruz. That could be huge as he tries to rally despite missing 4 races and put himself in line to run for a championship in the fall. Ready to restart to begin the final stage. Love, Quapple, front row. And the leaders coming to the Echo Park restart zone. Echo Park Automotive, where car buying is easier, better, and happier. Free to get at Nashville.
You get Justin Allgaier down there. Immediately past the line, goes to Lovely and Sawalich. Green wide. Why not? Sawalich dancing, Allgaier coming through. Into second on the restart.
It's Love gets the lead.
Yeah, man, he knows how important that track position is, and getting up there and putting himself in a spot to go race against the 2 early in the run is crucial, and sometimes you got to go through wide bottom and get by your teammate there.
Look at Cruz outside lane, up to 3rd best running position of the night, Parker.
That was a super aggressive restart by Justin Allgaier. He had to do that. Cruz that combines position up top, and he fended that off well. Maybe the loser in that was Quapple there falling to 4th, but he settled in, and I saw the 18 and the 17 get pretty close to each other off of turn 4, maybe a little bit of contact. Aggressive restarts, but you said it. You have to go there. You have to take that opportunity.
Oh, Larson sideways.
And he does big time save.
Big time save, but another 5+ positions lost for Kyle Larson amidst having to make the save after getting loose sideways after battling with Brandon Jones, which I believe was for the 8th place position on the restart. Battle for 7th. Larson was in 8th. Rear of the car slipping out from underneath him and couldn't hang in there. Now, amidst the slide by Kyle Larson, he's fallen to 14th, so 6 positions lost in that big moment he had through turns 3 and 4. Lost the side force of his race car on the bottom of the racetrack about a lap and a half ago now. Again, I just don't think his car is strong enough to really overcome that much more ground. Lost a bunch of positions on the last restart as well, where he ended up falling from about 5th place back to 10th, and he only got 2 of those spots back to 8th by the end of that 45-lap second stage. Brent Cruz and Justin Allgaier battling it out for second. Cruz putting pressure on the 7. Allgaier struggling to keep up with Jesse Love after a blazing restart to go from 5th to 2nd in 1 lap. We saw how close the 2 and the 7 were all stage long, but Allgaier not really holding a great pace as of right now early in this run. And Brent Cruz showing out for really the first time today when it comes to trying to contend with these top 2 cars, at least in the speed department. As of right now, he's still stuck behind Allgaier, but right there in the thick of things, and also a battle side-by-side between 2 Chevys now is Corey Day and Carson Kvapil. And Corey Day will win the battle for 4th for the time being. Kvapil falls back a spot, so Wallach, who was top 5 at the end of stage 2, is now to the inside of the 1 again for 5th. Couldn't hang in there for very long down the back straightaway. Had to concede the position, and Kvapil holds on again. Justin Allgaier chases his car way up the racetrack through 3 and 4. Big wiggle. You can see the nose moving around a ton. Allgaier looks a little tight that time. Brent Cruz back to the inside again for 2nd. We'll see if he can complete the pass this time. He failed to do so the last time he was underneath Justin Allgaier for the 2nd place position. This time he's still trying to hang in there door to door. He gets pinched very tightly to the inside in that yellow line on the bottom of the track through 1 and 2. And he, too, will end up slipping the race car, trying to turn to keep it off of Allgaier, and does not hold on again. So 2 passing attempts for Brent Cruz on Justin Allgaier, but neither pass attempt was made successfully. But if there's one thing that does do, it allows for Jesse Love to pull out. He's already got about a 2.5-second lead. 3rd time that Brent Cruz looks to the inside of Allgaier, but can't hang there off turn 2. Up the draft behind him on the back straightaway and look to maybe set him up in another corner. I do believe Cruz is quicker right now, but he could be burning his stuff up trying to make this pass. Great defense has been made by the 7. He's made minor mistakes to let the 19 get to him, but not a big enough of a mistake that has allowed the 19 to actually complete the pass. And every minor mistake he is making not only keeps the pressure on, but again, allows for the 2 car to get away. And we have not had a caution for incident so far tonight, so you don't want that 2 car to drive too far away if you're Justin Allgaier and Brent Cruz. Cruz trying to get this pass done as quickly as he can. He's just not able to get around the veteran and former champion. Allgaier is kind of running that middle to upper groove of the racetrack. Cruz can at least get clean air in the nose when he tries to run the bottom. 3rd time he's got nose-to-nose with the 7. Into turns 1 and 2, half of his car is out in front. Allgaier chases up the racetrack and clear off turn 2 for Brent Cruz. So Cruz up to 2nd place. He had a good showing at Rockingham back on Easter weekend, but kind of fell out of things a little bit late with the pit strategy call to get him track position, but had slightly older tires, couldn't hold on. Brent Cruz coming alive here late in this race. And those 2 drivers, Allgaier and Love, who were better in the first 2 stages than anybody else in the field, by the eye test, now have Brent Cruz to worry about as we get later into this one. In that last lap, Brent Cruz was quite a bit faster than Jesse Love. In fact, the fastest car on the racetrack that last time by was the 19-year-old in the number 19. I should say the 18-year-old in the number 19. Next question is, with this being the longer stage, even though we haven't seen a ton of tire fall off, is it possible that maybe the 7 and the 2 were holding a lot back? I'll have to wait on that.
You know what? Everybody is going to have to make it.
All right, so it sounds like not all the lug nuts were tight. The right rear tire for Jesse Love. Everybody's going to have to make another pit stop at some point in time. You just got to hope that the vibration doesn't get too bad that they're going to have to bring that car to pit road and surrender the lead. But obviously the vibration could be costing him a bit because he was driving away from the 7 to the 19 when they were battling. Once Cruz got clear of Jesse Love, Brent Cruz has been the fastest car on the racetrack, and he is trying to run down the driver of the number 2. We've had 3 first-time winners in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series already this season. William Sawalich, Corey Day, and Sheldon Creed have all picked up their first career wins. Brent Cruz trying to be the 4th driver to get his first win in the series, and Jesse Love, as we take a look at the last pit stop on the replay cam, again, did not have the right rear tire secure on there. Unlike the Cup Series where it's a single lug, now you can get away with having a loose lug when there are 5 of them going on the race tires. In the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, kind of the old-fashioned NASCAR pit stops, if you will. And just got to hope that that vibration doesn't get too bad. Again, it's something that team's just going to have to monitor. Everybody has to pit one more time, so if they maybe have to short pit, then you got to hope that if you pit early, you don't get trapped a lap down with an untimely caution. So they're not going to want to pit this early, even though we are getting close to the edge of that fuel window. Kyle Larson, Austin Hill, nose to tail. They got into it on a restart to begin stage 2 earlier. This is a battle going on for 12th. And that's why the camera was fully on them moments ago. Side-by-side commercial break again on the CW. Little over 25 laps complete in the final stage out of 98. And we are on lap 116 of 188 entirely in today's race. Lisa Jones, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the stream. Well, thanks for tuning into the stream. Be sure to hit the like button again if you haven't done so yet. Our like goal for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race stream today is 50. And we are currently at just 38 likes. So again, be sure to hit that like button so we can get to our goal. I've been pretty bad about that in recent weeks as far as telling you guys to hit the like so we can try to get to our goal. So we'll see if we can get back there again. Nashville Super Speedway weekend. Top 10 in the running order, Jesse Love out in front. Brent Cruz has closed the gap to just about 1/10 of a second in second place. Justin Allgaier 3rd, Corey Day 4th, William Sawalich in 5th. Sam Mayer in 6th place, Brandon Jones 7th, Carson Kvapil 8th, Taylor Gray 9th, and Sammy Smith round out the top 10. 71 laps to go this time by. Brent Cruz searching for speed. Much wider entry into turns 1 and 2. Jesse Love slides up the racetrack, kind of started low, went wide through the center. Cruz gets to the back door of that number 2. Yeah, just a really wide sweeping arc by Brent Cruz. But not only he's wide sweeping getting into the corner, but he's able to keep the car pinned down with a lower exit, not having to drive all the way up to the wall. And the 2 car seemingly a little bit tighter with the nose of his race car, much like Allgaier a little bit ago. Cruz gets to the outside. He's going to swing by Jesse Love clear out of turn 2. Love trying to hang on the left rear corner panel, but it's too little, too late. And Brent Cruz out in the lead for the first time today. While only Allgaier and Love have been the only 2 leaders so far, Brent Cruz in stage 3. Getting by both the 7 and the 2 the longer this green flag run goes, and as the track temps continue to drop, the clouds, I shouldn't say the clouds, but the sun diminishing, track going through a ton of changes. Has the 19 team kept up with the racetrack better than the 2 and the 7 that have dominated the first 2/3 of this race so far? Very well possible. That's the way things are looking right now.
Auto Parts Series live at Nashville Super Speedway on CW. You're watching the Sports Illustrated Resorts 250. Good man out. I mean, somebody picked him. Start countdown live. And here's the deal.
Must be a genius.
Parker, 0 for 25. But the minute he gets We'll hear about it for months. Rick Cruz, the new leader. And hey, I got to tell you this. At 18, his growth, the situation they're in right now, wow, he's been impressive. And one of the reasons he's out front, problems for Jesse Love, who had been the strong card tonight, had the problems with the tire on that last cycle of stops. Coming down now under green, Dylan, 67 to go.
Yeah, they wanted to try to get the this lap, pass lap 118 to get him into their fuel window. So it definitely puts them in a much better spot than they did 5 or 6 laps ago. They're going to go around here and put some spacers in the right rear. You see them doing that right there. So this will be a little bit of a slower stop, and especially under green, you don't want that to hurt you too bad, but you got to make sure you get this thing to the finish, obviously, too. So they'll go around here and get the left side changed, and just hope that it hangs on for the 2.
Right, if this goes green, as you mentioned, Dylan, this is within the window, but now you're seeing the spacers and how long this stop is having to be. Excruciating for Jesse Love at the front of his field. Such a fast race car to have this issue taken away from him. If it cycles through, we'll see how much he loses, but that's a very long stop.
And he's going to be close to going 2 laps down from this whole ordeal. And he stays on the lead lap, and hopefully a caution doesn't come out anytime soon, and we can start the cycle and see where he's able to cycle out with these fresher tires for the next 20 or 30 laps until the cycle really begins.
And this is going to be the tough time for this team, and really filled with anxiety is you probably have about 20 laps so everyone else really starts to go through the green flag cycle. With this being the last set of tires, they just don't want to do it too early. Even though you can make it on fuel, you almost basically go a little bit further than splitting this stage, which put them around 25 laps from now.
Yes, Brent continues to stretch his lead. He's been, one of the fastest cars at the racetrack, the fastest car on the racetrack. Almost every lap, I say that as Justin goes a hair faster that last lap. But yeah, so impressive to see what Brent's done today. He hasn't put himself in any bad spots. He started close to the back of the field and has just methodically worked his way up, learned each stage, and now finds himself in the lead with just about 60 laps to go.
Yeah, but my eye would be on that blue car right there, the 17 of Corey Day. Won at the Concrete Monster Mile in Dover, and he has gotten to the rear bumper there. Justin Allgaier looks really good right behind him. If he's able to do that, pulse of the lap time that he's been doing recently in that dirty air, if he's able to clear Justin Allgaier, watch out. Could we be looking at a concrete Corey?
That's right. There you go. Taylor Gray's passed a lot of cars tonight. We said that earlier. Started at the back when qualifying was rained out, and he had the issues last week at Charlotte. Drives up toward the front, has the tire issue. Had to come back through the field again. Gets around Sandy Smith for 8. And this is big for Taylor because he came in on that chase line. And then I think about also Parker Retzlaff, another driver who's faced adversities tonight after losing the engine in practice. Didn't have a great pit stop at the end of stage 2, but he's worked his way back to the top 10. Getting to 9th here, maybe. Sammy Smith not going away the
Sammy doesn't want to hand it to him by any means, but this has been such an impressive run for Parker Retzlaff. And we keep talking about this team expanding to 2 cars, a young organization, to be in the place, fighting to be in the chase as far up as they are is awesome. And to be able, it's one thing if it's all going perfectly for them to have great runs, but to be able to overcome adversity like losing an engine in practice, quick turnaround to change that engine, get into this race, start at the back, and drive yourself in the top 10, that's really impressive. It just shows that they have the speed and the execution.
Yeah, it's the 88, the HendrickCars.com. Kyle Larson, still human. It's pretty crazy. You never expect to be talking about him outside the top 10 in one of these races, but yeah, sometimes the car just isn't quite what you need, and it seems like that's been the case. And he's also been put in some pretty unfortunate spots throughout the night as well. So we'll be curious to see if he's able to get himself up towards the top 5, maybe a late race restart, and find his way to get back to victory lane like he always does. But certainly not the normal 88 performance with Kyle Larson that we usually see.
59 to go. Let's get a pit road report from Dylan.
And when I spoke to Danny Eflin, the crew chief on Parker Retzlaff, earlier today, he said, frankly, the engine woes are sort of the least of our concerns. Our balance was really, really not good. So this flow that's going to allow us to go to the back and then maybe try to get some things a little bit better on this car for the race. And it's the same needs right there with Larson, because he followed Larson in practice and said, even though that Larson wasn't very good, I still felt like it was encouraging that we were keeping up with him. So this is kind of a good day for the 99s, and it's maybe a bad day for the 88, but they're both racing for the top 10, and sides of the same coin for both of those guys in the 88 and 98.
And we talk about their execution of the day, and you mentioned Danny Eplin, the crew chief. Mirror image of what we saw with him a year ago when he was running the show for Harrison Burton at AM Racing. Brent Cruz leading at Nashville as we head toward the last portion of the race.
All right. Circuiting with just over 50 laps to go at Nashville Super Speedway, the Sports Illustrated Resorts 250. Brent Cruz out in front by 2.9 seconds over Justin Allgaier. Corey Day 3.9 seconds back in third, and William Sawalch 4.5 seconds out of the lead in fourth. Sam Mayer 5.1 seconds back, round out the top five in fifth. Sixth place as of right now is Brandon Jones. Carson Quapple in seventh, Taylor Gray eighth, Kyle Larson ninth, and Sammy Smith rounding out the top 10. Parker Retzlaff in 11th, Ryan Sieg 12th, Austin Hill 13th, Sheldon Creed 14th, and Dean Thompson 15th. 16th is Harrison Burton, 17th Anthony Alfredo, Jeremy Clements 18th, Roger Krug 19th, and Kyle Segan 20th. Blaine Perkins 21st, Jeff Burton 22nd, Brennan Poole 23rd, Leland Honeyman 24th, Patrick Star-Pulley 25th, Austin Green 26th, Logan Bearden 27th, Mason Maggio is 28th, Jesse Love first car off the lead lap at 29th, and remember he just made a pit stop kind of off schedule in the sense they had a loose wheel because of not getting all the lug nuts tight, but we will have to pit before the end of the race for fuel purposes. They cannot make it on fuel to the end. I will also state, though, for Jesse Love, very slow pit stop on the left rear tire as well, costing him some extra time. That's why he's 2 laps down instead of 1. Cletus McFarland off the lead lap in 30th. Right now, LeVar Scott 31st. 32nd for David Starr. 33rd, Garrett Smithley, Josh Balicki, 34th, Dawson Cramp, 35th, Ryan Ellis, 36th, Joey Gase, 37th, and J.J. Yaley rounds out the 38-car field. That is your full field lineup for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Nashville Super Speedway Race 2026 edition. We'll take another break. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage continues as we're midway through Stage 3. Lots of racing still to go here tonight. Just over 50 laps left. Elapsed time, though, if it stays green between now and the finish, we're going to be less than 30 minutes out from the checkered flag. So, if you're Justin Allgaier, Corey Day, maybe time to try to eat into that lead. And I'm sure they've been working on that ever since the end of the last stage to try to get closer to the front of the pack, especially for beginning of Stage 3, where now Justin Allgaier, who had won Stage 2, sits in second. Brent Cruz, the leader. Jesse Love was actually led the most laps so far tonight. Is, again, a lap down, had to make an unscheduled stop, and actually pitted from second. Brent Cruz had passed him on the racetrack once Love fell out of the lead. A couple laps later is when he came to pit road just on the inside of the fuel window. So, again, he's good on fuel to make it to the end. He'll make up a little bit of time on slightly fresher tires, but because of how slow the stop was and how old the tires are going to be at the end of the race, even if he cycles back to the lead, he's probably not going to stay there. I don't expect him to even cycle that far out in front back to the lead again either. Brent Cruz has a 3.2 second advantage right now over Justin Allgaier in that second place position. 4.1 seconds ahead of Corey Day in third. William Sawalch 4.7 seconds back in fourth. We'll see if most of these teams are going to try to split the final stage in half. We ran 7 caution laps at the end of Stage 2, so we restarted at lap 98. That was with 91 laps to go. So they would have to go the length of Stages 1 and 2, 45 laps if they were to split this stage down the middle. We may see quite a few cars making some green flag stops here shortly, with that being said, because we're down under 50 laps to go. 48 laps left this time by at the line. So again, 45, 46 laps to go would be splitting in half. We haven't seen as much tire fall off with this concrete oval compared to what we would usually see on asphalt ovals. So far into this run of nearly 40 green flag laps, Brent Cruz's fall off has only been about 9/10 of a second. His fastest lap of the race at lap 102, which was actually in this final stage at the beginning of this current tire and fuel run, was a 30.985. The last lap he just ran that last time by at lap 141 was a 31.871. So again, just over 40 laps into the run and only about 9/10 of a second of fall off. Most intermediate tracks we would already see a second or two of fall off, but not here at Nashville Super Speedway. And Cruz, while still running those faster lap times, able to get away with that because of less tire degradation here than what we would see at a lot of other ovals on the circuit. And I think that does lead hands into having some of those younger drivers who aren't as experienced in trying to run longer NASCAR-style oval races. Because you got to figure when you're growing up and you're racing maybe some local short track deals, or even like if it's something smaller like a legend car or what I raced quarter midgets back in the day, there's short races, there's sprint races, so you don't really get used to having to take care of your equipment as much throughout the course of a longer race like you would in NASCAR. It's very much an endurance motorsport, at least that I would equate it to on the oval side of things, especially the most endurance of any motorsport when it comes to oval racing, not just in the U.S., I'd pretty much say anywhere. As far as that goes, a lot of these younger drivers, when they're trying to develop in the younger, lower series, and even into Cup the first year or so, because those races are longer than that of Truck and O'Reilly, so you have to take care of your equipment and tires even more. It just takes time to kind of adapt to that ability. I think that's why we saw Jesse Love run well last year, and obviously he ended up getting DQ'd at Rockingham, but he ran really well there, and he ended up getting what was going to be his first non-super speedway win at that time. Sammy Smith ended up going on to win the race instead that day. Of course, Sammy Smith, the very young driver who really hasn't won on anything else other than a super speedway. Then you look at William Sawalich this year at Rockingham, and now Brent Cruz, a teenager as well, just like Sawalich, a teenager here at Nashville.
Snake's been loose, just trying to...
Sammy Smith on pit road. Another track just like this too. Again, Corey Day winning at Dover a couple weeks ago as a teenager, younger driver who's trying to develop his skill. A track with not a lot of tire fall off and tire wear. He's able to go out there, run his pace laps every lap, and get the win. Carson Quapple, another leader to the pits. Good tracking as well.
For most of the day, also around cockpit. I'm not sure where it went, but they'll make a chassis adjustment there. You see the wrench in the back window, 4 tires and fuel, Tim.
Taylor Gray making his stop. Fired off a little snug, but then it has continued to free up this front. In fact, just said, trying to keep the right rear underneath me. And so they'll take 4 fresh Goodyear tires, air pressure adjustment for the 54. You see the chassis adjustment, maybe just a tick slow on that right side.
So right around the halfway mark, if not just past halfway in stage number 3, we're seeing green flag pit stops. This would be the final pit stops of the day if we don't catch another caution. And very likely we, even if seeing another caution between now and especially the next 10 to 20 laps, I don't think we're going to see a lot of drivers pit, especially at the front half of the field as well. Second place, Justin Allgaier's in. That will bring the leader the following lap, Brent Cruz, to pit road as well.
7 car, just air pressure on both these stops.
Making this green flag stops and since these don't touch it, no adjustments for the 19. As you see the 17 of Corey Day making his green flag stop. He said, really good to start the run, better than I've been all day. He did complain of a long pedal earlier in this stage. Haven't heard anything about that brake pedal since.
It was 4.9 seconds back when the cycle began. Allgaier was 3.9 behind race leader Brent Cruz. If you're Cruz here and you have that advantage, just make sure you execute and you don't get a speeding penalty. William Sawalich also getting a green flag pit stop here. It's all scheduled. And now we watch the blend. Allgaier coming across the start-finish line.
All right, so remember, Brent Cruz pitted a lap after the 7 of Justin Allgaier. So Allgaier's had 1 lap at speed already. 1 lap fresher tires, but again, we only had about 9/10 of fall off, and he was at just over 3 seconds out of the lead initially, so he's probably not going to make up enough time, especially if Brent Cruz had a faster pit stop, than the 7 crew. Quite a bit of lap traffic that the 19, fortunately enough for him, was able to come out in front of, versus Justin Allgaier going to have to battle through all that lap traffic in the rearview mirror of the 19. We'll take a look on our leaderboard to see what the separation is between those two cars. Right now, Brett Cruz in 8th place. Allgaier in 10th. They are at the tail end of the lead lap, and the difference is 2 seconds between Cruz and Allgaier. So Allgaier caught up about a second. That makes sense because he pitted a lap before. And roughly even pit stops for the most part, it seems, between the 19 and 7 teams on their 4-tire exchange. Austin Hill staying out to lead some laps on the racetrack right now. It appears he'll be coming to pit road this time by, and that will give lead to the other Georgia native in the field, Ryan Sieg, in the 39 car to lead and try to run this out as long as he can, hoping for a late caution. Come to pit road, have a few extra lap pressure tires, and trap a lot of cars a lap down as well, in resulting to trying to have a better finish. Sieg has been inside the top 10 at a couple of different moments in the race today. Here's Hill in the pits.
Davidil.
Run inside the top 10 after that stint with Larson. They sent them way back to the so it's shipping back up. We'll see what they second.
All right, Austin Hill exiting pit road again. Brent Cruz is the leader of those that have already made pit stops. The only 2 drivers who have yet to make a green flag stop are Ryan Sieg and Patrick Staropoli, running 1st and 2nd. So waiting on the top 2 to pit. And we've got just under 40 laps to go. If the 7 team was not able to make up with some potential changes to the racetrack, not potential, the changes to the racetrack, by making changes to the race car from the daylight hours at the beginning portion, first half of the race, to the back half, the nighttime skies creeping in, have they made the right adjustments necessary, since stage 3 has pretty much been mostly in the dark versus that of stage number 1? We'll have to wait and see. Last couple of laps, Allgaier's been clicking away hundreds of a second faster over the last couple of laps versus Brent Cruz, our race leader. Cruz just has to get through lap traffic better. Don't let the pressure get to him. And I'm sure the 7 can put pressure on him. We know how much of a veteran Allgaier is. And it does seem like Justin Allgaier is usually better in circumstances late in the race when battling for a win, when he is the chase car versus the car leading late. It seems like whether it's luck or just mistakes late, kind of like we saw at Dover a couple weeks ago with Allgaier, and we still tend to see year over year, that he just has trouble maybe being the lead car in a late race situation. Well, you put him in the driver's seat having to run down those drivers in front of him, whoever it may be, and he's definitely of the best in the series to try and run down that said driver. Again, that team was 3 seconds out of the lead. I think the most I saw was about 3.2 seconds back behind Cruz during that last tire stint. They pitted 1 lap early, so they got about a second back on Cruz there. And since leaving pit road, they've gotten another second back. And the lead is now down to just 1 second between the 19 and the 7 with just over 30 laps to go. Tight battle on track between the 17 of Corey Day, the 41 of Sam Mayer. That battle goes on for 4th. Mayer on the inside, Corey Day up high on the top. Mayer shoots it off down to the bottom of the track through 3 and 4. Day will attempt a crossover. Get right back underneath of him. We'll try to side draft and hang on the door of the 41. This is as high up in the running order that Sam Mayer has been so far today. After starting in the 34th place position deep in the field after yet another DNF last weekend, plus the fact that he's just outside the top 10 in points when it comes to the metric system, with qualifying getting washed out earlier this afternoon. He's made the pass on Corey Day, and he is driving away from him already. Top 5 in the running order with 30 laps to go. Next time by at the line, Brent Cruz leads, Justin Allgaier second, William Sawalch third, Sam Mayer fourth, Corey Day in fifth. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage in the finish of tonight's race coming up. So an epic battle in the last 20 laps or so of Stage 2 between Justin Allgaier and Jesse Love. So we might have another battle brewing now late in Stage 3 between Brent Cruz, another young gun in the series, even younger gun at that, and Justin Allgaier in the 7. It was Allgaier winning Stage 2, beating Jesse Love after side-by-side battles, back and forth action that they went. By the way, since everybody did cycle through green flag pit stops, Jesse Love is back in the lead lap, but because of that very slow stop on the left rear tire, they are now in 14th place, 13 positions lost from the lead back to 13 since this last restart, which was, again, the beginning of Stage 3. We have not seen a caution for incident so far tonight. Cletus McFarland spun as Stage 2 was coming to an end, and Jesse Love, Stage 1, was coming to an end as Jesse Love was capturing that first green-white checkered flag of the night. Justin Allgaier, without a caution in the second stage at all for incident, goes on to win stage number 2. He is in second, Love again in 14th, and Brent Cruz leads as of right now. Allgaier got to within 0.7 of a second, but he had to make up a little bit more time now after losing a bit to the race leader, passing that last lap car he just got by through turns 3 and 4, the last lap. No lap cars between the top 2 in the running order now, both wrapping the bottom of the racetrack, Cruz and Allgaier. And the closer Allgaier can get to the back of the 19, he's probably going to have to search around the racetrack, get some clean air on the nose. Right, Cruz has done a great job with a very wide entrance on both ends of the racetrack and then holding kind of a tighter exit to the corner. Not using all the racetrack and just basically taking the shortest route around the track possible to make his best lap times. Is he maybe struggling to do that now, and have they maybe made the car a little bit too tight, or just naturally the car has gotten tight and not able to keep up with the track? We've seen a lot of drivers grow tight as we get into the nighttime skies. The cooler track temps will lead to that. Usually you have warmer track temperatures in the daylight or hotter ambient temperatures, and that will cause the back of the car to want to slide out and less rear security, but the front tires tend to grip up a little bit better as the track temps fall and the ambient temperature continues to fall as well. Got to free it up.
Six laps to go in Nashville. 0.7 of a second, the advantage out front.
A little bit of a crank it up again there on the CW. Those last several laps let you listen into the back end of it. 25 laps to go for a race leader, Brent Cruz. His lead is now only about 0.6 of a second over Allgaier, who has been at least a couple hundredths faster a lap the last 3 laps consecutively now. Steve J, welcome into the stream. Jeremy Granger, thanks for tuning in as well. This is a bad race. 0 passing, no grip, dirty air. Dirty air, yes. We usually don't see a lot of tire fall off on these concrete ovals, so it does make the passing a little bit more difficult. Dirty air is always a problem at any track you go to. I feel like nowadays, even on tracks where it is multi-groove, you still see some defensive driving. It's just the way these cars mechanically are built nowadays. Maybe a little less of an impact with the O'Reilly cars maybe than what we have seen with Cup cars, for instance, in the next gen era, but still see that bleed over. A track like Nashville has just got that much grip. You can hold down quite a bit of mid-corner speed. It's a pretty fast track for this size oval, and I don't think it's been a bad race by any means. And we have seen passing for the lead. I know we are at 11 lead changes, most of those because of the green flag pit stops that cycled through in stage 3, but we have seen Brent Cruz get by Jesse Love for the lead early in the stage. So it's not like it's impassable to pass the leader. And we saw an epic battle at the end of stage 2 in the final 15 to 20 laps between the 7 and the 2. And that wasn't just a nose-to-tail battle. Those guys were throwing slingshot moves back and forth on one another. And I would not be surprised if we see that again late here between Allgaier and Sawalich. Allgaier and Love passed each other back and forth like 2 or 3 times. The closing laps of that last stage. Better for what it's worth. 1 like away, by the way, from 50 likes, which is our goal for today's stream. So be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. We are very, very close to our goal this evening. 20 laps to go, this time by for our leader, Brent Cruz. The 18-year-old rookie in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series coming into this race 13th in points is looking for his first career series victory. He has now ran the full season. He is competing for points, was able to get a waiver to compete and try to qualify his way in the chase. Has to make the top 12 consistently in points to be able to be chase eligible. With no win and you're in. But a win could go a long ways here because of how many more points you would score for getting that said race win. But it's going to be tough to hold off Justin Allgaier as the most winningest driver in the series of any active driver today. Former champion and one of the best cars of the night. Allgaier from a 3-second deficit has ran down Brent Cruz, and they are side by side for the lead as they cross the start-finish line. Justin Allgaier out in front into turns 1 and 2. He is clear of the 19 car of Brent Cruz. Cruz is going to try a crossover to get to the bottom after the 7 slides up the racetrack. He might have carried too much speed on entry. Brent Cruz is going for it on the bottom of the track. They're 3 and 4. Allgaier going to try to hold him tightly. The 19 has not been able to get the turn center off for most of this second leg of the final stage, but he does here and stays alongside Allgaier again. Side by side as they cross the start-finish line for the second consecutive lap, but it's Allgaier who leads this time by to get the official lead change into the turns 1 and 2. Sweeping up the track are both cars. It looked for a second there was going to be near contact. They're very tight off the exit of turn 2, and nose-to-nose again down the backstretch, headed for 3. Another great battle ongoing for the lead, this one for the win between Brent Cruz and Justin Allgaier. Lap car coming up. Going to get out of the way of the leaders. On the front stretch, a big-time side draft for the 19 of Brent Cruz. Allgaier going to try to pick the 19 with the lap car in the way on the bottom. Cruz couldn't stick it all the way to the inside. Allgaier goes wide trying to give room to the 19. Allgaier barely cleared for the lead off turn 2, but Cruz is not out of it yet. Headed to the bottom of the racetrack, Cruz gets to the back bumper of the 7. He moves him up the hill. Into turns 3 and 4 and bump and run at nearly 150 miles an hour. And Cruz is back on again underneath the 7. What an intense battle for the second time tonight for the lead. This time, again, it's Cruz and Allgaier. For about 4 or 5 consecutive laps, they have been back and forth. Allgaier so close to clearing off turn 2, holds his line. I thought he was going to block the 19. He did not. He stayed on the top. Cruz is wrapping the bottom about as best as he can with a tight race car right now, and he is still very much in this. Allgaier wins the race back to the gas off turn 4, gaps Cruz by about as big of a lead as he's had in the last couple of laps. Cruz up the racetrack by half a car length, trying to get a little bit more clean air on the nose. He can't wrap the yellow line anymore with the 7 in front of him running that said line. Is this over, or does Brent Cruz have another shot to get after Justin Allgaier? 14 laps remain, and I'm sure there's still going to be more lap traffic to come. I personally think that this has been a fantastic race today. Not of the best, but it has been very entertaining to watch at the front of the pack. I mean, we've had now 2 very close back and forth battles for the lead in the final 20 laps of a stage. And again, now this one for the win. Unfortunately, though, it looks as if Justin Allgaier is pulling away just a bit. That last time by at the start-finish line, he had just over a half a second lead, and Cruz is definitely fading the later and later that this race goes. Lap traffic almost costed Allgaier late, and Jesse Love got back to the inside of him coming to the last lap of stage 2. Does that happen again in stage 3? Looking at this, just because this guy is leading the race right now. But Justin Allgaier with a win today would be 6th all-time on the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series wins list. At 32 career wins if he can hold off Brent Cruz late. He's tied currently with Jack Ingram for the 6th spot, but he would be in 6th all alone. And he would be within 6 wins of Carl Edwards for 5th all-time on the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series wins list. And again, that is if he's able to hold on this evening. 3 wins already this season. Currently the points lead. Jesse Love, who came in 2nd in points, might have won a stage and finished 2nd in the other stage, getting the most stage points of any driver tonight. But because of Jesse Love having a slow pit stop in stage 3 and a loose wheel, he is now in 15th late, while Allgaier searching for another win. And he's going to have an even bigger points lead again. After having a over 175-point lead 2 races ago, it got down to about 122, and it looks like it's going to be right back above 150 pretty easily again here. Even if Allgaier doesn't get the win and still gets about a top 2 or top 3, because I don't think Jesse Love's going to pick up many more spots if he picks up any at all. He is in a battle with Sheldon Creed right now for 14th. And Love looking to make the pass, trying to salvage every point he can. Brent Cruz still only 0.8 of a second out of the lead, but we are down with less than 10 laps to go. Got 8 laps left this time by at the line. No cautions for incident at all so far this evening. Just the 2 stage breaks at lap 45 and lap 90. It's been such a fast race pace that even with this race being an extra 50 miles compared to the truck race last night, because of having 4 less cautions, this is actually going to be a shorter race by the checkered flag if we don't catch a yellow. That race last night, 1 hour and 57 minutes. At just under 2 hours in a 200-mile event, 250 miles tonight, and even with the extra 50 miles, looking at, again, a shorter race. Mathematically, they'll have 6 laps to go this time by. Should be done in about 1 hour 55 or less. Might have jinxed it. That might mean we're catching a caution, or then we're going to go to overtime, and it's going to end up being longer, but Justin Allgaier doesn't want to see a caution, that's for sure. He's setting sail. Fastest car on the racetrack the last couple laps has actually been William Sawalich in 3rd. The problem is he's 2.4 seconds out of the lead, and he's only been about a 10th or 2 faster lap than Allgaier, which at the deficit he's at right now is not going to be big enough to end up catching the leader. He might be able to get to Brent Cruz, because he's been faster than both Allgaier and Cruz, but consistently within a 10th or 2 of Cruz's lap time, lap over lap. Again, he's about a second behind the 19 car. So Brent Cruz, it was feeling like it could be the night he gets his first career win as an 18-year-old, but it's the veteran Justin Allgaier taking both he and Jesse Love to school late in stages 2 and 3. to get out in front. Now just 4 laps to go for Allgaier, and the biggest flag he's trying to catch right now, not just the checker, but the white flag to ensure that if we caught a late caution on the final lap, it would at least end the race and eliminate any shot of an overtime or a late race restart. Which right now we're close enough to the end of regulation that if a caution came out, it would go past the scheduled distance and we would see OT. Jesse Love is still going to go on to lead the most laps so far tonight. Justin Allgaier has led the second most laps in the race. 87 laps led today for Jesse Love out of 188. 47 and counting for Allgaier in the closing laps. 45 for Brent Cruz. Cruz now 1.4 seconds out of the lead and still losing time consistently to Allgaier. And Cruz that last lap still 1.2 seconds ahead of Sawalch. So Sawalch was running him down. And I don't know if he caught lap traffic or Cruz has picked up the pace just a little bit late, but at least Cruz is doing what he can to hold on for second, despite not really having much of a shot at trying to catch the 7. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for Justin Allgaier. Final lap of the race. Been a great night for the driver of the number 7. Another fantastic points day. First and a third for 18 stage points and another race win. He also has the Xfinity Fastest Lap Award with a 30.839. Ran back on lap 55. Was both himself and the fastest lap of the race entirely. Checkered flag in the air, and Justin Allgaier is a winner at Nashville. Second time in his career that he will be a winner at Nashville Superspeedway. For the 32nd time, he is a winner in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. 6th all-time on the wins list, breaking the tie he had with Jack Ingram coming into the night. 4th win of the season for the 17, most in the series of any O'Reilly regular as well as outsiders from other series coming in to race as well. 1.4 second margin of victory for Allgaier over Cruz. And again, the second most laps led this evening with 50 right on the dot, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 50 laps led for Justin Allgaier today. Brent Cruz finishes in second. William Sawalch third. Sam Mayer fourth. Brandon Jones will round out the top 5 in 5th. Corey Day finishes 6th. Carson Quapple in 7th. Kyle Larson 8th. Taylor Gray 9th. And Sammy Smith rounds out the top 10. Austin Hill in 11th, Parker Rutzlab 12th, Ryan Sieg 13th, Dean Thompson 14th, and Sheldon Creed 15th. 16th, Jesse Love. Anthony Alfredo last car on the lead lap in 17th. Jeremy Clements 18th, Raja Karuth 19th, and Blaine Perkins 20th. Brennan Poole 21st, Leland Honeyman 22nd, 23rd, Jeb Burton. Kyle Sieg 24th, Patrick Star-Pulley 25th. Logan Bearden 26th, Harrison Burt 27th, Mason Maggio 28th, Ryan Ellis 29th, and Austin Green 30th. Lamar Scott, 31st. Josh Balicki, 32nd. Garrett Smithley, 33rd. Dawson Cram, 34th. Cletus McFarlane, 6 laps down at 35th. Joey Gase, 36th. David Starr, 37th. And J.J. Yaley rounds out the 38-car field. No cautions for incident this evening. The only 2 cautions were the stage breaks at lap 45 and lap 90. 12 lead changes, 15 laps of yellow. And we finished under the regulation length of 250 miles, 188 laps around the mile and a third oval at Nashville Superspeedway. 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 16 seconds total time of the race. Again, 50 miles longer of a race, but a race that ended about 4 minutes shorter than last night's Truck Series event. Fireworks on the backstretch. Justin Allgaier out of the roof hatch, standing on the top of his car in the front stretch. A winner at Nashville again, and we'll get a word with our race winner here shortly. Pretty packed crowd on the front stretch as well.
Career
Good to
win
see
number
for
32
a lower
for
series
Justin Allgaier. Here's Kim Coon.
And Justin Allgaier remains the king of concrete, brings home his 3rd win here at Nashville Superspeedway as his crew comes in for a celebration. After taking home the checkers, he's going to get a big hug from all the guys. They are pumped up down here. 4th win of the season for this team, but Justin, you came to life when it mattered most there at the end. As you think about your race, was there any doubt about the win, especially when you saw young Brent Cruz out your front windshield and knew you had to pass him?
First of all,
it's been a rough couple of weeks, and thoughts and prayers to Samantha, Kyle, and Braxton and Lennox. It's been an emotional couple of weeks, and I wish my wife and kids and my mom and dad were here to celebrate. But this team right here, they're incredible. Rick Brand standing here to win in Nashville. You fans, this place is electric. I love coming to Nashville, and I saw Brent struggle out of that green flag pit stop, and I knew we had a car that was capable of getting there, and we struggled on that one run, and Andrew made some great calls, and we got ourselves back in the game and was able to track him down and get the win. So, trademark nitrogen, I felt like I told them before the race that we were going to go to victory lane. So Mike Berry better be leading the crew to victory lane. Has 2 in a row with them, and Rick Brand. I mean, obviously, I can't say enough about this guy. It's just the effort. I mean, it's what a race. My 40th birthday is next week.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. I got a triathlon to run in the morning in downtown Nashville, so I don't know how that's going to work. So if any of y'all want to go run a triathlon for me, you're more than welcome. I don't know. Just really proud of this group, and thank God, man. Thank God we got the opportunity to do this.
So many teams talked about the importance of this race before the break next week. For you guys to end on an exclamation point of a win, how important was that?
Wins are wins, and they're understated. What it means to this team, the organization, everybody, Chevrolet, the Hendrick Shop, all of our partners. Harvey's, Logistics, Carolina Carports, Chevrolet, Hellman's, Tufco, just everybody that's a part of this. Jarrett, they're here tonight. Hopefully Mike Jarrett's coming to victory lane. Just so proud of this team, and wins are understated, like I said, and it's a good night.
Does Willow get the guitar?
Willow got the last one, so maybe this one's mine. It is red, so this one's mine. I'm gonna learn how to play guitar on this one, trust me.
You heard it, Justin Allgaier, our winner again.
All right, congrats to Justin Allgaier, winner of tonight's Sports Illustrated Resorts 250 at Nashville Super Speedway. We'll be back again tomorrow for the Cracker Barrel 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series. Our start time for that stream will be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Have a good rest of your Saturday night, everyone. And see you back and better than ever again tomorrow evening. Hopefully the rain holds off. We were able to get this race started in on time, but I know with qualifying getting rained out for all 3 series this weekend, truck race delayed yesterday. Hopefully things go without any sort of problem there. We had a great race this evening, and I hope we see the same again tomorrow for the main event. Have a good rest of your Saturday again. See you tomorrow night, everybody.